4 trustees present, 2 absent. We have a quorum. The approval or corrections to the minutes of the July 13th, 2015 regular village board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes presented? If not, a motion to accept is written.
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee March, seconded by trustee Jones.
Mr. March?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm gonna get
All right, accounts payable and payroll. Payroll pay period ending 7/18/2015 in the total amount of $46,947.48. Accounts payable, general fund, $13,504.39, 27,249.84. Water and sewer fund, $18,1039 and $7,658 for a grand total of $49,571.20. Are there any questions on any of the bills or the payroll?
The 13,400 for AAA, that's the first part of this Ashmore, right?
the tree removal.
Do you know how far they are with that?
I do not know how far they are.
Okay.
I can show you the invoices.
No, that's,
Any other questions or discussion?
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Hack, seconded by trustee March.
Mr. Hack?
Yep.
Mr. March?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Public comment and/or questions on any non-agenda item. We'll go on to reports of committees. In your packet, you have the clerk collector report and the treasurer's report. Are there any questions or discussion on any of those? Police chief is not here this evening. Engineer report.
Thank you, Mayor. I think our items are on the agenda later. I don't have anything else to report, but what we have later on the agenda.
Okay.
Unless there's any questions, anybody? No. Okay.
Well, then, do you know, Troy's been dealing with it.
Yeah.
Do you know where that grant is for Wilmington Road?
I have a little bit of an update. Well, I don't know if it's an update, but I've talked with Troy, about that. Everything is being held right now. I spoke, and I don't know if we've talked about this or not. I talked to Kurt Verdeen, who is the grant coordinator in charge of all of those grants, and basically was told that everything is being held at this point in time. Communities that had received grants that hadn't spent all of their grant money, the state was basically going back and taking money back.
So is there even a glimpse of hope, or should we just?
I do
start
not.
over?
I do not hold out a lot of hope at this point in time. Unless something miraculous happens in Springfield, it's not looking good for that right now. I did talk to Troy, about the upcoming Ratchy Road project and that stuff. All of that is not, part of that grant process. I also asked him about Corning Avenue, the stoplight, and that is coming from some different funding sources. We have a Safe Route to School grant, but there is some state money involved in that. But he didn't feel like it would be, a big, hopefully not a problem. I did call, I'm drawing a blank on her name now, the Congresswoman, our representative, Coonan. I called her office and talked to her assistant Kathy down there, who was here with her when they did those office hours, and talked to her after I talked to Kurt Verdeen. And I did send them kind of a timeline as to how this whole thing has flowed from the time, we've gotten word or started the process for the Wilmington Road sidewalk. They were gonna try to, see what they could follow up and do, if they could do anything for us in that regards, but, they didn't seem to hold a lot of hope, about that right now.
Yeah, I would just echo the mayor's comments. I've seen DCO grants where projects have, gotten money and they're pulling the money back off the table. So it's really, I've never seen anything like it, actually. I'm actually Kankakee Community College actually started a new building and they got the money pulled. I think they might be able to get it back, but you can imagine how awful it is to start a building on campus and have the money pulled. So it's a really crazy time right now.
Thank you.
I was gonna talk about that at the end of the meeting tonight, so yeah. Anything else for the engineer? No old business on the agenda, so we'll move on to new business. Item A, Certificate of Achievement presentation to Eagle Scout Jacob Petrusiak. Jacob had his Court of Honor on Saturday, this past Saturday, and I was unable to attend. Chief Mort went and represented the village and presented Jacob with a certificate and a pin from the village, and I invited them to tonight's meeting, so we could recognize him at the board meeting, but they are not here, so maybe they'll come in hopefully a little bit later. Otherwise, I'll touch base with them and see if, we can get him to come to the next meeting, because I would like to recognize him, in an open meeting here, because that's a great achievement. Item B, Bonnie Lane drainage, 2 quotes for consideration to install drain tile and connect to storm sewer. I'll turn that over to Trustee Hack, the chairman of the.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Back in June, Mr. Hankey with the Public Works had a complaint about drainage on Bonnie Lane, and myself and the mayor and Bob were all out there. There's 4 or 5 houses that are actually underwater, and after reviewing it with the engineer, it is a low spot. It's one of the lowest spots in the subdivision. So what we've proposed through the committee is installing a 6-inch storm sewer in the back of the properties back there, and letting all the 4 or 5 houses along there tie in their gutters, their sublines, everything to help alleviate the water. Bob has gotten 2 quotes, one of them from Sunset Sewer and Water. His bid was $10,015, and then the second one was from Craig's Landscaping and Lawn Maintenance for the price of $3,869. Biggest difference I see in the bids were the size of the catch basins. One had a 12-inch, one had a 24. But I talked to Bob about it the other day, and he doesn't see any reason why the 12-inch won't work, so I would like to get it moving and get it done, so I would make the motion to approve it for Craig's Landscaping.
In the amount of $38.69.
I had one question.
Go ahead.
On the more expensive bid, they had that prices don't include restoration, spoil removal. Do you think this other bid includes that or not?
From what Bob told me, yes, Craig was including it.
It says seating and
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
Yep.
And how long is it? Is it 300 feet or 400 feet or 200 feet?
It's 200 feet.
Okay. So his bid for 200 is accurate.
Does that connect into an existing storm sewer?
Yes. I don't know if you have this map.
Yeah.
It's in the.
Oh, connected exists, okay, connected.
And the residents would be responsible to connect into this.
If they so wish to, yeah, we've made it available where they can tie in their sump lines, their gutters, to try to get rid of as much surface water as possible.
But it would be their responsibility.
Yes, at their cost.
Any other discussion?
Can I just ask one question? Not to be a thorn, is this in an easement or is this?
Yes,
Okay, so you're all clear on that, and under other underground utilities?
cable, I believe. I think that was it.
So they're just trenching this in pretty shallow, right?
They'll call Julie.
Yeah.
Just to,
Yeah, actually, Van, one side's cable and the other side is our sanitary easement. So we're gonna run right along the edge of it.
but it is an extremely wet area through there. I was amazed at the problem that existed there, and I think if we can, as a village, help those residents out in that whole, I mean, it affects probably more than the 4 that we were looking at, at times, too.
I think it's a good solution. The homeowners hopefully have the correct expectations though, right? That it's not gonna take care of those heavy storm situations. Yeah.
I forgot the address. What was Randy's address?
Yeah.
The original person that called about it, yeah, Bob and I both spoke to him, and I think he understands that if you get a 4 or 5 inch rain, it's still designed to hold water. We're still
Right.
gonna create that overland swale too, so
Yeah.
it's still gonna hold some.
Any other discussion, questions? We have a motion on the table from trustee Hack to accept, accept the bid from Craig's Landscaping and Lawn Maintenance in the amount of $38.69. Second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Bowden.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mr. March?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Item C, special event, Peotone Community Day, August 22nd, 2015. This is a little bit of a project that it all started with a conversation that I had with Gary Juris, who's present for another matter tonight. Gary had called me and asked me what I thought about the possibility of doing a youth safety day at the bowling alley, involving the police and fire department, having police officers and firefighters come to the bowling alley, bowl with the kids, and just be there to talk to them about, safety issues. And I said, yeah, that's a great idea, So I went to Chief Schreiber at the fire department and Chief Moore at the police department, and they both immediately, said they were in, they would, be happy to participate. So then I started thinking, well, how can we make this, maybe a little bit bigger, a little more community orientated? So we talked about tying it into a farmer's market day. So the farmer's market day that we picked was August the 22nd. So now we've got the farmer's market on North Street from 8 to noon. We're gonna do the youth safety day at the bowling alley from 10 to 2. So then I said, well, why don't we make it a little bit bigger? Let's try to involve a little bit more of the community. So what my proposal is, and we've kind of started throwing this out there to the community already, would be to close Main Street from 2nd Street to 1st Street and allow vendors and any other business in town that's not necessarily downtown, come downtown, set up a table, try to promote their business, but also allow other home vendors to come down, set up a table, and sell their wares. So for companies or businesses like 31, Sensi, Avon, that type of thing, what we're doing is we're taking the first person, that calls and says they want in, because we don't want, 4 Avon people there, because these people are hauling a lot of stuff, to set up. So to make it fair, that's kind of on a first come, first served basis. All the other businesses in town, if there's 2 landscapers or, 2 of anything else, they're all welcome, to come and set up. The response we've gotten has been really, really good. I think we've gotten a response from, 24 vendors so far and several businesses. And the downtown businesses, a couple of them have said they're gonna maybe set up in front of their own business, do like a traditional sidewalk sale type of thing. So we're just kind of calling it Peotone Community Day. So the main thing we're gonna need action on is to close the street for those times. We're gonna go from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then I got a call or a text today and said, well, do you think maybe we could add a community garage sale to community days? Garage sales, typically, the people have to pay, what is it, Donna?
$5.
$5 to have a garage sale, and you're limited to 3 a year, I think it is.
2 plus
Plus the
the
community.
regular community garage sale.
So we've already had our community garage sale this year through the Chamber of Commerce. But what I would like to also incorporate in this motion is an addition of another community garage sale day for August the 22nd, a one-day event, not a whole weekend of garage sales, but a one-day garage sale, community garage sale, along with the Peotone Community Day.
So moved.
And that's with a waiver of the permit fee
Waiver- A
for...
waiver of the permit fee for the garage
Garage
sale.
sale.
And there is no fee of any nature tied to the vendors coming downtown. It's just, you gotta provide your own table, your own, if you want a tent or whatever. There hasn't been a letter that's gone out. It's been in the Vedette. It's been in the, I believe, the Country Market. It's been on Facebook. You know, it's been out in the community. So there are still spots open if anybody's interested. The contact person for this is my wife. She's taking the calls and the emails, and then we're coordinating through that as far as setting up the vendors on that day.
I did hear there is free promotion for any communities through the Kankakee paper. If
Okay.
I send that over to
Yeah,
them,
absolutely.
I can make it in the paper.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And we've also done the farmers review. They're also putting it in the paper and promoting it that way. But I would just like to see an opportunity for local businesses to promote their business, but also to get the community out and about and, you know, tie it into the farmers market, which is growing. I mean, it's amazing how they've grown even from the first market of this year to the market this past Saturday. And then also, you know, with Gary's cooperation and Luann for the bowling alley, you know, for an opportunity to get the youth of the community, you know, out there and involved also. So we have a motion by trustee March. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Jones.
Mr. March?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Great. Item D, special event, Gary Juris, 210 North Second Street, August 8th, 2015. Is it Bashi, am I saying that right? Benefit, street closure of Second Street from Crawford Avenue to North Street, and open alcohol from 3 PM to 11 PM. Gary, you want to step up to the mic? And maybe explain a little bit to the trustees.
We're having a benefit, and we're putting a tent on the grass area in front of the beauty salon for like the raffles and silent auction baskets where we have and stuff there. Put a few 6 or 8 picnic tables out in front of the bowling alley and the parking areas, the angle parking areas. And it would just be, you know, I think it'd be beneficial to everything because we have food going on. And the size of our bowling alley, we're hoping that we have a problem with room, with people. That's why we're putting the tent outside to have that stuff. We did the same basic thing they had when our roof truss failed. We had the block party, this same basic scenario is what went on that day.
Explain what the benefit's for, I mean, in case somebody doesn't happen to
Well,
know.
Tracy was a resident of Green Garden Township, went to graduate Peotone High School in '81, and she was diagnosed with peritoneal cancer since right after Easter, and she passed away on July 1st. We had the benefit planned prior to that, but she has a daughter that's going to college. So I thought we'd just continue on the benefit in her honor to help her daughter get through some of her schooling and stuff. She's going to go to Rockford University. So that's what we did, you know, we planned on having. We also have quite a bit of stuff that's already been donated, silent baskets for silent auctions and stuff like that. So we have a lazy boy recliner, they're raffling off, and 50/50 raffles and stuff like that going on, and all the money's gonna go to help Courtney get through school.
And you're gonna have an opportunity to bowl.
Right, where there's bowling available at 4 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. We have a few spots left open at 7, and then 4 o'clock we have a lot of room left.
And I talked to Chief Morton in regards to the proposal for open alcohol outside. And, you know, we talked about that a little bit, and I sat down with Gary earlier today, my concern is I don't want that whole block, you know, I don't want people wandering up and down the street. So I think what we have come up with is basically roping off an area from the south end of the bowling alley, I'm getting my directions figured out here, the south end of the bowling alley to the next lot where Sherry Parker's hair salon is. There's a yard in front of that, and that's where we're gonna set up the tent. So we'll rope off out from the bowling alley to the edge of where the tables are gonna be at, on the edge of the street there, and the parking spots, go down to the end of that tent and come back. And that's the area, that people can be outside with alcohol with. They can't cross that road.
And
It's
all the
gotta
alcohol will
remain-
be purchased inside.
The alcohol
There'll be
will be purchased, no outside
alcohol-
sales.
yeah,
Right,
right.
it's all inside sales, but everybody would be confined. And that's really, within that small scope of the bowling alley. But that just gives people the opportunity to go outside if there is overflow, to go next door to the tent to purchase raffle tickets, and then hopefully go back in and bowl and eat and, participate in the raffles and so forth.
So the street closure is going to be from 3?
The street closure would be from, what'd we say?
3 to 11.
3 to 11.
So that doesn't affect the business across the street? I don't think he's open.
No.
Right.
And Sherry, she didn't have a problem.
No, I've
Obviously,
already talked to her about-
you're setting up in front of her,
Right,
her
she's,
business, so.
yeah, she's on board with that, I already talked to her.
And then the open alcohol, the outside alcohol would end at that 11 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
Any questions, discussion?
Make a motion.
Second.
So a motion by trustee March and seconded by trustee Hack to grant the special event permit for the fundraiser benefit for the Tracy Pasci family, closing the street between North Street and Crawford Avenue from 3 to 11, and allowing open alcohol outside of the bowling alley within the roped-in area as described here from 3 to 11. Does that cover it all?
Yeah, I think so, and there's no bottles outside, right?
No, it'll be in
All
plastic containers or
Yes,
cans.
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
And Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item E, award 2015 sidewalk replacement program.
Let me take it.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the bids were opened on July 16th for your sidewalk replacement program this year. Davis Concrete Construction Company was the low responsible bidder. They came in approximately 7% lower than our estimate, which is always good. So we were recommending award to Davis Concrete Construction Company in the amount of $52,786.80.
Do we have any time constraint when we want that done by?
That's a great question, and I wish I knew that answer. I would think there is. We usually put completion construction dates in our contracts. I don't know this one specifically because I didn't see it, but I would assume that there is one in there. I don't know what the date is, but I can have Troy let you know what that date is.
It's just in the past, I mentioned before, it seems like 20 minutes before they pull the Thanksgiving turkey out, they're
Mm.
wrapping it up, and it'd be nice to have it done August, September.
And I know in my discussions with Bob from Public Works, that's why we were kind of trying to get this awarded now, as opposed to waiting till later in the year and award it, because then we would be running into that problem by getting it out to bid, getting it awarded now. He was confident that we're gonna get this done in a timely fashion, but I don't know the date either.
Yeah, I would suspect, though, the fact we opened them on the 16th, and if you do award it today, it usually takes a couple weeks for contracts and insurance to get done. Yeah, I would think we have some type of completion date that's certainly gonna be before November.
Can you put a little heat on?
I will put as much heat on them as I can.
Okay.
I will get you the date, though.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So what did we have budgeted?
50.
So we will cut something to bring this down to 50.
Not the engineering fee, is it? Is that why I'm here tonight? I mean, it's a unit price
Right,
contract.
right.
So you
So
can
it would be
choose
like-
to do so many square
Exactly.
feet. Yeah. So you can control that.
And we used
What?
Davis before, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah, Davis and JJ Newell have both done your programs.
I think that the question that Donna raised there was on the motion whether to limit it to the 50,000.
Right.
So, don't know whether you want to or not.
Right.
but
Right.
Bid's 52,000, and they'd have to cut. You'd have to cut.
Right, 52, and again, it's an estimation of quantities, but that covers whatever Bob and Troy had figured out what was gonna be done. So if you wanna limit, cap it, and say not to exceed that in construction, they would have to decrease some of that quantity.
What's the spread? $2,000?
2,786.80.
I think we go ahead and do what they proposed, if we got the money.
Well, we would have to double check, of course, and make sure that, I know what we have budgeted, there's normally a little bit of room, outside of that budgeted number. That's something we'll have to talk with the treasurer about. We'll just say not to exceed the 52,786, but we could always trim it back.
And we don't need to know that answer
Yeah.
tonight, we can control that during construction.
Yeah.
Contractor doesn't need to know that now, so you can award it as such, and
Yeah.
if you tell us not to go over 50, then we'll do that.
Steve, I thought there was.
Well, and going back, and that goes back to that whole,
Because we put
Yeah,
money in
there's a
there. for
Right.
grant thing in there.
Right. but we had discussed that even with,
Yeah, we had 100,000, so. But some of that was supposed to be
right,
for.
exactly.
So,
So is there a motion to accept the bid, the low responsible bid from Davis Concrete Construction in the amount of $52,786.80?
Motion.
Second?
second.
Motion by trustee Bowden, seconded by trustee Hack.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
And Mr. Mark?
Yes.
Questions of the press? Couple announcements. Talked about the farmer's market a little bit ago, and really, I was really impressed, this Saturday especially. I mean, it's really, the farmer's market has grown each time it's been held, and, they're doing a great job with that, and they're providing, some other things along with it. This past week, they had the barrels, for the kids. And I mean, and that's, it's just really great to see families downtown out and about and, using the village and, buying food from the restaurants and hopefully going to the bowling alley and just, whatever. It's just, that's the kind of stuff that I love to see. Car show also, was excellent once again. Hopefully that will continue, and I think they were down a little bit this year on cars, but I think somebody had said there was other shows going on or
That's what I heard.
something, but,
Steve, has
again.
Anybody has she thought about increasing the farmer's market weekly next year at all?
I haven't had any discussion with them about that. I think they're pretty comfortable, with the every other week. But that's something they're gonna have to kind of, to figure out and see if they wanna try to grow it. But, to me, like I said, it seems like it's growing, and, we've gotten, through their sponsorships, they're offering, if you were a sponsor, then you go down, you can set up a table inside of the farmer's market and, promote your business too, which I think is great, and having the stuff for the kids, and the libraries there, every farmer's market, just basically they're giving away books. They have books that they're no longer using in the library, so if you see a book you want, you get to take it and read it and hopefully pass it back on. So just, little things like that. Just really, I think it's a great thing.
Have they made any requests to the village to help?
We help as far as setting up the barricades, for them, prior to their market and getting garbage cans down there, and going back and picking them up. But as far as a financial, help,
just-
no. Yeah, no, but I mean, we certainly do everything we can, to help them and help promote and talk about it and get people down there. I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do, to try to help them. But I think they did pretty well again this year with sponsorships too, from local businesses. So I said they're just doing a great job. It's just a really neat thing. In your packets, there was a little pamphlet about this retail connection that's going to be on August the 6th at the Hyatt Regency in O'Hare. So just a one-day event where, we would have an opportunity to go in and kind of promote the village, to these different retailers. Myself, I plan on going. Trustee Hack has asked to go, and Trustee Jones also has expressed interest. So if it's okay with the board, the three of us will go that day, and, just kind of, we'll come up with a letter to pass out, and just to talk to some of these different retailers and see what we can try to move forward. That's not anything that needs action, though. Anything else? Any other communication? I wanted to talk about the community day, but we talked about that. Again, if, the paper could put that back in the paper about the community day and just let the public know that there's still spots available, we'd greatly appreciate that. Did you have any questions about anything tonight? Okay.
Steve, just one
Yes.
quick thing. So if this sidewalk thing isn't gonna go through on Wilmington Road
Yes.
this year, so kind of same thing happened last year, but I understand, wasn't it budgeted last year for 50, and so then we just did it again this year, right?
Correct, because the grant carried over into the budget.
So was it, like last year, was the 50,000 that was budgeted, was that spent on something else?
No, it was carried over for this year.
Because I'm just saying, I mean, if it's not gonna happen,
Right.
I'd love to plant a few trees this fall.
That's something we can certainly look at. We'll sit down and talk to the treasurer, look at the numbers and make sure, everything, what is what, and then we can take that back to the committee and move something forward if we can.
Well, if the grant falls through, I want to keep pushing forward for that sidewalk.
Right.
I wanted to do it this year, just do it without the grant, because I think the safety of the residents should be our top priority.
I agree.
So I think we just need to bite the bullet and do it if we can't get the grant. So,
Well, we'll put that on your agenda at your next committee meeting, okay? And then we'll see if we can get any other information, as far as this grant goes. But, like I said, I have a strong feeling that it would be kind of starting from step one,
it's kind of seeming that way.
Yeah. So we'll definitely discuss that back at the committee level. Anything else? Okay, sorry.
If I don't finish writing it, I'll forget what it is. Water bills are due Friday, the 31st.
Water bills are due Friday, July 31st. Anything else? If not, a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second? Motion by trustee Hack, seconded by trustee Jones.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned.